Hey there, Bracy here. Right off the bat, I'm sorry if you hear kids screaming in the background. Like I said, the family is home, so you get what you get, and we don't get upset. So today I'm gonna continue with what's going on back here, always fresh in our minds. What's going on in our world? I'll talk more about that as I feel prompted to do so. But today I'm just gonna step forward. I will say that cool kind of climate activist that young lady who's sailing overseas. She's just arrived to the New York City area. She's here for that climate summit, and it's amazing that she's willing to take her voice and publicly show she's going to go across seas, and she's going to do whatever it takes to get the word out, use whatever platform she has to really show we have a lot to change if we're going to prevent millions, billions of people from dying from climate activity on this planet. It's awesome. And so I think what I'm going to do is try to strike a balance between what it is I talk about and always leave time and air to talk about what's going on globally. We'll step it out and then step it back in close, just so we don't lose focus. I want to maintain focus on what my concentration is, but everyone's zone is the planet, and that should be something that we all talk about consistently. So today I'm going to talk about so we stepped from it was the Samsung Gear VR. There are multiple versions of that. I'm only gonna do that one, even though I had gotten few over time. And then I got the DK2, the Oculus DK2, and then the next one I had ordered the Oculus consumer version 1, but I also ended up getting the HTC Vive before I got my Oculus because it shipped faster. So I'm going to talk about the HTC Vive today a little bit. This guy really, it really opened up the game for me. Like, I got to see what room scale virtual reality felt like. It was before this headset came out. I have like the modified Pro back, so it's got the speakers on it and stuff like that. But when I first got it, it's just like kind of a spandex, springy kind of strap, and then the controllers. These guys, so they're a bit bulky. These things. They didn't have the Hyperkin skin on there. These are for protection. It makes it look kind of cool. But ultimately, this is what I got, and it was my first experience of room scale, jumping around, utilizing controllers, shooting bow and arrow. It came with this amazing experience called the Lab, which was kind of like a sample pack of a lot of different demo experiences, little things that you got a taste of what was possible in VR. The bow and arrow was by far my favorite. I would just sit and play that for hours, honestly, and trying to just beat the score, and it would give you a crazy workout because you're really just shooting as many arrows as you can, and your aim is important because you've got all these little characters running around trying to break into your castle. That was fun. The outstanding thing about that was the tracking solution. They had created these things called base stations. You have them on opposite corners of a room. You have two of them. They shoot out this laser at a certain frequency, and it's hitting the sensors on all your devices on the headset. You'll see the dimples on the headset, hits those, and each device sends its calculated signal to kind of a relay box, and that relay box kind of calculates, all right, if this laser is hitting you at this time, and I've got this position from your this rotation from your gyroscopes, you're in this position. Like, it pretty accurately calculate your position from those base stations shooting those lasers to each device. So that's essentially how it worked, and with that, I mean, it was everything from Brookhaven experiment, which was basically a zombie, where you're just jumping into a zombie world. You have guns and stuff like that. there were a lot of experiences that that got going, but that headset really, the innovation was the room scale. You could walk around for the first time in a big, like you could move around with the DK2. That allowed you to move around, but it was one forward-facing camera, so you had to make sure you always stayed in front of that camera. If anything obscured that camera's view from the headset, it lost your tracking, and that was it. The great thing about the base stations is that they were usually placed high, they kind of angled down a little bit, and those lasers kind of were able to map your location no matter where you were. And you wouldn't obscure one of your controllers, because if you did, it was usually pretty good at picking up where they were. So you weren't having hands glitch out, you weren't getting sick, you could move around. I think ultimately the issues were that the headset itself was a little just too clunky, it's a little too big, not very comfortable for most people, it's very front heavy. And the controllers, they were great when you first got them because there was nothing to compare them to. They were just big and clunky, but at the time they were just novel and amazing because all of a sudden you could see something that was representing where your hands were. You could pick up things, you could throw things, you could engage with things, and that was fun. Like holding a gun, you felt like you were holding a gun, even though I'm tired of the guns, but it's just kind of the easy low-hanging fruit to make you feel like there's this interaction with an object that gives you some semblance of agency in a space. That was initially the first experience with room scale, and it just solidified the other experiences with the DK2, the Samsung Gear VR. They really got me excited, and they really made me excited about being a developer. But once I got my hands on the HTC Vive, I knew absolutely this is where I want to be creating. And then as soon as I went into Unity and I created something for the HTC Vive, and I saw how easy it was to just get going, like build anything and put it in a virtual space, then it was like a drug. All of a sudden I had to be developing for virtual reality. So that's the very first foray into the HTC Vive. There's so much more to unpack there, but I'm going to keep these kind of shallow for now. And then if there's anything, these are kind of the touch points for each of these headsets. And then over the course of time, these guys will come up again and again and again. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Stay conscious.